as your caption. The second step is to take a screenshot of your post. Thirdly, send the screenshot to VIBAL FB page through PM so we can give you your certificate. So again, remember the 3 steps. I repeat, watch and share today's live learning session and use your key takeaway with hashtag #LearnAs1PH as your caption. Second, take a screenshot of your post and send the screenshot to VIBAL FB page through PM so we can give you your certificate. So in a minute, we shall begin. All right, so we are now live on Facebook. I am speaking from Zoom, but we are live on Facebook. Welcome everyone to this another series of talks. Today, my talk is about boosting self-confidence during crisis and coming out stronger. First off, I would like to introduce myself. I am Marcelita Handayan Labial. I am the proprietor of MJL Review and Training Services. This is a review center and a training service center for IELTS, OET, PTE, TOEFL, and all other English proficiency test reviews. And at present, I am also a graduate school professor at Capital University, located in Cagayan de Oro City. So we are live now on Facebook talking about boosting self-confidence during crisis and coming out stronger. Now, this is a very timely talk, I should say, because there are many things that we have heard in the previous speeches or previous talks. Even VIBAL launched many talks already on how we will live, how we will carry out our tasks in teaching in the new normal. So many things were said about how teaching should be, how we ferry our learners to this new normal. And if you think about it, when we are living the new normal, come to think of it, it's something that's unknown. It's something that's new. So if you live the new normal, it entails you being stable, you being able in guiding your students to the new normal, which is an uncharted territory because it's something new. So let me share with you my slides. I would like to take you to a little recollection. If we look back in, maybe that was February, yes. When this pandemic broke out, everyone was caught off guard. Even the most powerful of nations, even the most popular, the most influential, the most celebrated people were lent to fear, to doubt, to apprehensions, and whatnot. It has taken a great toll, toll on our personal circumstances, not only not only in our global landscape, but in our personal circumstances, rich or poor, popular or not, employed or unemployed, confident or not, all of us got our share of the havoc that this crisis brought to our world. Maybe many of us have asked this question to ourselves. Will I come out of this pandemic unscathed, unaffected? Or maybe will I come out in this pandemic alive? This crisis really has made so many people fearful, doubtful, apprehensive, pessimistic. Now come to ask yourselves, look inside you and check yourselves. How confident are you in this time of crisis? Maybe you can say, my confidence level dwindled with this crisis. It has gone down. Maybe for others, it's just the same. But for many, it has really plummeted. The confidence level really has plummeted. So now you ask yourself, before this pandemic came, how was my confidence level? As compared to now that we know of this crisis and we are fighting of an enemy which we do not see. I spoke to some people and they say, my confidence level really changed. If before I thought I'm very confident of what I can do and what I can become, now I have doubts. Now I cannot assure myself that I maintain my confidence level. That is understandable because we are now in a new phase. We are now in a new situation where there is crisis, where there is pandemic. So check yourself. Am I still in the high level, in the moderate level, or low level? If you have sensed that your confidence level has gone down, then this talk is really for you. Before I elaborate on boosting self confidence, let us revisit now the definition of confidence or self confidence. The word confidence comes from the Latin word fidere, which means to trust. So, self confidence is the firm trust, faith, and belief in oneself. But let us remember that that firm trust, faith, and belief in oneself does not just come like as a given. It is a self assurance born out of having knowledge, experience, a positive self image, self respect, and high self esteem. So let's be reminded of the definition of self confidence. So, having those definitions and having that our self confidence is wavering in this time of crisis, then let's take this opportunity to revisit, to rebuild, to renew ourselves, knowing that when we return after this crisis, there are students, there are parents, there are colleagues that we will be caring for, that we will be leading, that we will be nurturing, that we will be uh, uh, guiding. So when we guide, when we lead, when we love, and when we care the people around us, we need to be stable and able in order that when we tread the new territory, the so called new normal, We are better agents of hope for our students, for our learners, pupils, for our co-teachers, our family members, and all the people around us. So now I will give you 12 tricks to boost your self-confidence. Probably you will ask, why only 12? Why not more? Well, we are given only an hour to talk about boosting our self-confidence. I can talk on and on, but our time is limiting us to only 12. And I'm also reminded of my Jesuit education, which taught me non multa sed multum. For those of you who are having a Jesuit background, you know what non multa sed multum means. It translates to not many but much. The 12 tricks may not be many, but they are much for us to really rebuild, renew, and reassure ourselves that we will become stronger and better after this crisis. So here we go. Let me begin with the first trick. The first trick is look good. Now, dear teachers, whether there is crisis or none, let us always go back to ourselves. Let's look good because we are leading, we are always in front of our students, our co-teachers. So therefore, when we carry ourselves in front of an audience, we should look good. Okay? Uh, what do you mean by looking good? In this time of crisis where we are taken online for our delivery of lessons, probably you are lent to being or looking haggard in front of the computer. Probably you can relate to this image. When you are bogged down, when you are too tired delivering your lessons online, and you forget about yourselves, you might think, why should I look beautiful when in fact I can turn off my mic? Well, that's not all the time. Remember that after this crisis, we will be facing our students face to face, or we will be seen by our students physically. And looking good is really something that we have to take note of. If we look good, remember, we feel good, right? So exert effort or invest on looking good. One way to do that is to exercise. Before the pandemic, probably many of us went to the gym and we took care of ourselves. We took care of the looking good aspect of ourselves. But now that gyms are closed, you can do your exercises at home anyway. Not only that, you have to be mindful of what you take in, your diet, okay, so that you can maintain your figure. I see some teachers who are neglecting their looks. Understandably, there are many things that a teacher does: lesson planning, preparing instructional materials, meetings, and taking care of the family. All these things will really eat up our time, that somehow we forget that there is ourselves that we need to take care of. Dear teachers, no matter what situation you are in, always care for yourself. Always look good. Even if you are facing a great crisis, whether that's personal or like the global crisis that we are facing now, remember to look good. Let me just share with you an experience, a personal experience that I went through. In 2015, I was diagnosed of breast cancer, and it was an ordeal. It was not an easy thing for me. I lost my hair. I looked awful because of steroids. I had a moon face and all that. In other words, to myself, I looked ugly. But despite that crisis that I have been through, I really exerted effort. I really made time to reinvent myself to look good. As you can see in the images that I am sharing with you, these are images of me going to my chemotherapy session. Every time I would go for a chemotherapy session, I really wanted to look good. So I really exerted much effort to look good because I rose above the crisis that I was in. So enough with that sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, dear teachers, remember to look good. Even if you are in a pandemic, even if you are in a crisis, whether that's personal or whatnot, look good. Because remember, when you look good, you feel good. Okay, moving on. We go to the second trick. And the second trick is mind your posture. If you want to build your self-confidence, or if you want to boost your self-confidence, you have to mind your posture. That means you have to stand erect and walk tall. You might have noticed some people who are slouching. If you have that stance, if you slouch or when you slouch, that's not exuding confidence. It indicates that you are not confident as a person. So, again, if you are wanting to build your self confidence, have an erect posture. Do not slouch. Okay? Moving to the third trick, which is hasten your stride, which means that when you are walking, whether you are going to the canteen or the cafeteria from your faculty room, or going to another classroom, or you are heading the stage because you are emceeing, or you are going up the stage for something, hasten your stride, meaning do not walk aimlessly. I do not know with you, but for me, sometimes when I go to the beach or when I go somewhere, I spend time people watching. When you watch people walk, you will notice that different strokes have different folks have different strokes in terms of the stride or in terms of walking. Some people are walking like wala lang, naglalakad lang, aimless. And there are those who are walking and it's as if they are communicating or saying that, hey, make way because I am here. Mga ganon, no? So if you are building your self-confidence, walk a little faster than ordinary people. In fact, some books would say walk 25% faster than ordinary people if you want to build your self-confidence. So take note of that. Okay? Next up is put your best self forward. It means that wherever you are good at, or in whatever it is that you are good at, go for it. By now, you already know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So when you put your best self forward, guys, amplify your strengths and downplay your weaknesses. One example that I can give you is if, for example, you are very good in oral communication skills. If you're very good in oral communication skills, probably you can volunteer as an MC in your school program. And when you highlight your skills, your oral communication skills by emceeing in a program, then people will praise you, people will commend you, and people will be happy and appreciative of what you have done. And when you hear them giving you positive feedback, that will really boost your self-confidence. So go for something that you are good at. Do not venture yet on something which you are not good at or not so good at. For example, if you're not good in dancing, then do not participate yet in activities or a dance number which the teachers or the faculty will stage. Because if you are not good in dancing, and people will notice, ay, bakit naiba yung step niya? Bakit pa-left siya when pa-right yung iba? And the worst thing is, some people are harsh. Sometimes they take pictures, not necessarily showing your face, but they take pictures of you being out of step. And then they would have a caption, alin ang naiiba. So, yun, if for example you are amplifying your weaknesses instead of putting your best self forward, when people would criticize you, you spend a lot of energy defending yourself. And instead of you boosting your self confidence, you are actually pulling your spirit down. I'm not saying that you will not develop your weaknesses. You can have time to develop. But what I'm saying is, in putting your best self forward, amplify, go for those strengths in order that when you have displayed your skills on those particular aspects, or when you have exhibited a skill which you are good at, then people would praise you, and it will give you a feel good. You will be, when people praise you, ang galing mong kumanta, ang galing mong sumaya, ang galing mong magsalita, then, di ba, feeling good ka when you get to your faculty room, feeling good ka when you go home. Okay, that's what I meant. Okay, moving on. We are now on trick number 5, overcome your shyness. It is, I'd say, for teachers, it is impossible for us to say that a teacher is shy. The fact that you are able to talk to your students, to face an audience, to be with your teachers, co-teachers in meetings, you're not shy. However, you might have experienced this, that when we are put in a different or another situation, when we are coming face to face with people who we haven't met uh, yet, or who we have met for the first time, then we get shy, we become shy. And when we are shy, that limits now our opportunities, right? So let me give you an example. In 2012, I was in a gym awaiting for the President of the United States, then Barack Obama. And I really wanted to shake hands with him. But the thing was, there were two gentlemen in front of me, and you can just imagine Americans. They're big guys, and I was tiny, and I was really blocked by those two guys. But I really wanted to go up front. I really tried to overcome my shyness by asking them, sir, or can I can I be can I come up front? Can I sit, or can I stand in front of you? Anyway, I was not blocking their view, and because I was able to overcome my shyness, then they allowed me to be in front of them, and so I got the chance not only to see the President of the United States then, but also I had a chance to shake hands with Barack Obama. So you see, if we overcome our shyness, something good will happen to us. A better opportunity will come to us. For single ladies out there and gentlemen, you might have gone to a conference and you're seated with somebody who you meet for the first time. If you don't say hi to that somebody because you are shy, you deprive yourself, or you shun off the opportunity of having a greater interaction with that person. So you say hi. Who knows? Your shy will take you to I do. Diba? Maraming nangyayaring ganyan. No? They met their partners in conferences or in summits. Who knows? Okay. So, trick number 6. occupy the front seat. You might have noticed in meetings, in conferences, in gatherings, or even in churches, notice that the first few or the front pews in churches, the front seats in meetings or gatherings are usually empty. If only people have choice, they would not occupy the front seats. Why? Because if you occupy the front seats, it's as if you are really counted. It's not it's as if, it's you really count. So if you are building your self-confidence, guys, occupy the front seats. When you come to your meeting, your faculty meeting, occupy the front seats. Sit up front and be counted. Because if you occupy the back seat, if you choose to sit at the back, remember that the back has a high level of anonymity. In other words, parang hindi ka ma-recognize pag andun ka sa back. Okay? So, we're talking about building self-confidence. Why would you prefer to be anonymous when you can be counted? So, sit up front. Okay? Do not be scared of the front seats. Some people would say, Ma'am, I will not sit up front because I might be called by the to answer a particular question and I might not know the answer to the question. Well, guys, if that is your fear, be honest. If the speaker asks you a question and you don't know the answer, say so. You say, I'm sorry, I do not know the answer to that question. If you can wait, probably tomorrow I can answer you. Di ba? Mga ganon. Wala naman tayo nakikita na headline na pinatay dahil hindi nakasagot. Siguro in the past, meron tayo mga headlines na nakikita na pinatay dahil nanlaban. Pero wala yung pinatay dahil hindi nakasagot. So, if you do not know, say so, be honest. Di ba, this is, gano'n naman tayo mga teachers, we do not know everything and we cannot know everything. So if we do not know the answer to a particular question, and if that is really the anchor of our fear for sitting, for not sitting in front, then again, be honest. Be honest. Okay? So, occupy the front seat. Sit up front if you want to boost your self-confidence. Okay? Next, speak your mind. What do you mean by speak your mind? So when I speak my mind, can I just blurt out anything that I feel, anything that I want to say? Well, it's not that. While you are encouraged to speak your mind when you want to boost your self-confidence, but you have to be mindful also of the manner of your speaking. So your voice matters. You may stand up, you may speak out, but you have to be very careful of your speech. Make sure that you do not hurt, you do not attack the one you are talking to. For instance, in your school, for example, you have a sports fest for faculty, for example, and your principal came and brought a design for your uniform. And the design is just weird. It's bizarre. Imagine a polo shirt for your sports festival having 2 pockets and 5 large buttons. Weird, right? But that is what your principal presents. And she is saying, this is our uniform for the sports fest. And here you are wanting to speak your mind. Of course, you do not attack your principal. Remember, the person is your principal. Okay? You respect the position, you respect the person. So when you speak your mind, remember that kung ako kaya ang sabihan ng ganon, how would I feel? So, whenever you open your mouth, think of yourself. Kung ikaw kaya ang makarinig ng ganon. Okay? So, going back to that shirt example for the sports fest. So, if you want to speak your mind, of course, you do not want a design. You want it modified. But you cannot just say it outright that that's a weird or that's a bizarre design. This is my suggestion. When you speak your mind, begin with something positive. So find something positive that you can begin with. Probably you, so along with the design, probably the principal presented also the kind of cloth, the textile that will be used for the polo shirt. So then you can start from there. Or probably the stitches. The stitches are also included in the details of the design. So if you like the stitches, if you like the color, if you like the material, then start with those. And then work your way to the modification thing that you are aiming for. Probably you could say, ma'am, I really love the design of the collar, probably. I like the cloth, the material. I like also the stitches on the side, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is that is positive, you start with that. And then you say, is it possible? Okay, so here you are not imposing. Okay, so you are looking into the possibility of modifying the design. So probably you say, is it possible that we can make the pockets a little smaller? Now remember guys, you in our experiences in meetings, when somebody initiates a certain change, other people will come up and say, they will raise their hands. Yeah. So maybe we can, or we can get rid of the one pocket. So we will retain only one. Instead of having two, we only have one. And then another person would say, and maybe we can lessen the number of buttons to just 3 instead of 5, so on and so on. So they will have modifications because for all you know, they also do not like the design. So they will have suggestions now on how to modify the design. So if you think about it, when you speak your mind in a very nice manner, you are not wrangling with other people. You are not debating with other people. You are not anymore. Some people will really argue. So you don't have to argue because that's not healthy when we argue. Okay, so you simply mind your manner of saying things, and in minding your manner, remember yourself. Kung ako yung pagsabihan ng ganito, how would I feel? Okay? You don't need to debate. You don't need to argue. You don't need to dislike one another, because the less you respond to rude, critical, argumentative people, the more peaceful your life will become. So if you want to build your self-confidence, no need. No need to argue with people. Okay? Okay. Moving on, we are now on the 8th trick, which is maintain eye contact. If you are really building your self-confidence, you really have to look people in the eye when you are talking to people. If you're talking to your students, for example, look them in the eye. Siguro na-experience natin yan, no? When our students are getting rowdy, when they are giving us problems or disciplinary problems in the classroom, without us saying a word, titignan mo pa lang sila, ganyan. Di ba titigil yan sila? So, our eyes really are powerful. If you look back, probably you encountered disciplinary problems in your classroom, maybe because you have not maintained or established eye contact with those people who are making noise, those people who are giving you problems in the classroom. So, look people in the eye. Whether you are talking to one, to a group, or to the whole class, look them in the eye. Now, many people, whenever I say this in the many trainings that I conducted, they would say, but ma'am, it's a struggle for us to look people in the eye. We are not just used to it. Probably there is a cultural background to it. We're not used to look people in the eye? Well, you can practice. So if you're not used to looking people in the eye, guys, this in between the brows here, that's where you will look. Okay, so when you look this part here, it's as if you are looking people in the eye. So that's gonna be your practice ground. So practice looking people in the eye by starting here. And later on, when you gain confidence already in looking people in the eye, then go for it. Tignan mo talaga ang kausap mo mata sa mata. So our students, okay, look them in the eye when you are with them or when you are talking to them. Because these eyes, okay, when we look people in the eye, we are communicating sincerity. We are sincere about our speech. Because if you are talking to a person and you are looking elsewhere, you're looking up the ceiling, on the wall, on the table, computer, but the person you're talking to, then you will have a problem. The one you are talking to would say, this person is crazy. This person is not sincere about what he or she is saying. So look people in the eye. Probably the problem is, ma'am, what if I have a large audience, large like 50? Some of our classes in the public school will go 50, 60. So how will I do that? Will I look each one in the eye? Supposedly, in a class, you should look each one in the eye. But if you have an audience which is so big, it's impossible also to look each one in the eye. If you have like 100 people, 80 students, 70 students, or 200 or 1,000 in the case of a program. So if you are emceeing, for example, in a program as a teacher, and you have a crowd, if you have an audience composed of 1,000, 2,000 students or 2,000 people, it's impossible to look each one in the eye. But there is a trick that you can do. Imagine the letter Z. This is for large audience, okay? So if you have a small audience, like in a class, you can look people in the eye, okay? Each one of them. But for large crowds or audiences, then you can make use of the Z approach. What is this Z? You know letter Z. So if you have a large audience, you may start at the back, having that one, Z, and then diagonal, and then front. You may also begin here, front, and then diagonal, and then like that. When you do that, when your eye span is that Z or letter Z, it would appear as if you are looking each one in the eye. That way, you can establish rapport or you can maintain rapport with your audience. What is this rapport? This is the relationship you have with your audience. So you do not want to look away from your audience. You have to maintain eye contact with them. So remember, if you are not used to looking people in the eye, practice by looking at somebody or the person you're talking to on this spot. And then later on, when you have gained courage already on looking that person in the eye, then shift from here to really the eye. And if it's a huge crowd, use the letter Z approach. All right, moving on. The number 9 trick is improve your self-esteem. What is this self-esteem? Self-esteem is a realistic respect for or favorable impression of oneself, or it's a self-respect. Remember the second definition earlier that I gave you? The definition of self-confidence, which is a self-assurance born out of knowledge, experience, skills, positive self-image, positive self-respect. So Improve your self-esteem in building your self-confidence. How do we improve our self-esteem? I have three suggestions, and these things are really uh, based on my experience. Now, the first thing that you will do to improve your self-esteem is you read. You read. What should I read? You read things about your field. If you're teaching science, you must be knowledgeable about science. You must know what are the trends in teaching science. All those things. Will I only be reading about my field? No, you can read other things. Those of your interest you can read so that you have so many things in your head. When we don't read at all, we limit ourselves to knowing the many things that we are supposed to know. And you notice when we don't know anything or if our knowledge is limited, we prefer to be silent in meetings when we do not know what people are talking about, when we could not contribute because we do not know or our knowledge is limited. We prefer to be silent. Sometimes we'll become members of the silent committee, and in other times we become the chairman of the silent committee. We do not want to do that. We do not want to be the chairman of the silent committee. We want to improve our self-esteem. And one way of doing that is read so that you will know many things. Read the news. Read things about your field. Read things which are of your interest so that when the opportunity comes for you to share, then you can be heard. Remember the speak out, the seventh trick? Then you will have an opportunity to speak out because you know you have something to say. Okay. The second thing that uh, you can do to improve your self-esteem is associate yourselves with people or persons who are greater than you are. For example, going back to the oral communication skills, if you want to build your oral communication skills because you find that your oral communication skills are wanting, then you can do that by going with people, going with friends who are good at oral communication skills. For sure, in your circle of friends, you have people who are good in this and good in that. So whatever it is that you would like to build, whatever it is that you would like to improve or enhance, then knowing that you have these people in your circle who are good at it, go with them, associate. Guys, I really use this one. I had what do you call this? Not so good a background because I was schooled in the mountains in my primary years. So when I transferred to the city, I struggled. It is because my the language that I used growing up is not the same language that the city people are using or were using. So I was struggling. We were not speaking in English sa bundok. We were having the dialect. So knowing that I have that inadequacy in me, and knowing that in my circle of friends there are those who can help me, then I went with them, and silently I was trying to sense how things are said, how or what manner should I use in saying this and saying that. And I was learning a lot from them without me spending money, without me enrolling to a speech class. So you see, our friends or our circle can help us. It is just a matter of determining which ones or who among our friends have those skills that we would like to build on. All right. So go with people who are greater than you are in certain aspects. And the first one was, what did I say? Read. The third one is enroll in graduate studies. Okay, so probably some of you have already started your masters, or others are finishing their doctorate. Go for it. Enroll in graduate studies, because by enrolling in graduate studies or by pursuing your education, then you will meet a lot of people, have with them a lot of experiences that they can share with you, and that would add up to the knowledge and the skills that you have. And then you will develop yourself. Your self confidence will be elevated because you have improved your self confidence. So, three things: reading, associating with people who are greater than you are, and pursuing your education. Okay, moving on. Let's go to here is the illustration. Look at this before I move to the 10th. See? Yan. Hindi po ba, when we are not improving our self-esteem, when we are not building our knowledge, or when we are not broadening our horizon, isn't it that we become myopic? Yung mga simpleng bagay, di ba? Aakyatin po ba naman yan na pwede mo naman ding kunin yan from the ground? No? So that's an illustration of, you know, when we do not develop ourselves, when we do not pursue education, we can be limited. All right? So, come now the 10th trick, which is acknowledge praises and compliments. This is common among Filipinos. This is my observation. Whenever you are acknowledged, or whenever we are praised, we have the tendency to negate the praises or the compliments. For instance, when somebody says, Mercy, ang ganda ng color ng hair mo. Then you would say, ay wala. Ay ano lang, yung may kapitbahay ako kasing bakla, tapos magaling siyang mag-color. Bumili lang kami ng mumurahing yung color doon sa tabi-tabi. Tapos ito na. Notice that you spoke a lot of things when you could have said thank you. Right? Why do you have to tell people how cheap the color is, who did the color, or where you bought the color, when in fact, you only need two words? Thank you. Some people would say, Ma'am, kasi naman ma'am, pag sinabi ko namang thank you, baka hindi totoo yung sinabi niya, sasabihin, maligaya, masaya siya. Hindi naman totoo yung sinabi. Well, problema na niya yun. Di ba? So if the person accords you with praises or compliments, but is being insincere about his speech or his language or his words, problema na niya yun. Basta narinig mo. Pwede happy ka, no? So you say thank you. Whatever is the situation, as long as you hear, as long as you are praised, as long as you are given compliments, you say thank you. Okay? Next is number 11, smile. You see my picture there along with Ambet Ocampo, you know him? And Ma'am Evelyn Caja, I guess, and Estrella Peña coming from. So these are the Metro Bank outstanding teachers. Smile, guys. Smiling is really contagious. Contagious, di ba? Imagine if you are caught in an elevator with somebody, a stranger, and when you smile at that somebody has no choice but smile back. Or probably, let's take it the other way around. That stranger smiles at you, you have no choice but smile back without saying a word. Just smile. If you are building your self-confidence, you should learn how to smile. You cannot just frown. Okay? So smile, smile. And notice that smiling really dispels a very positive air, a positive environment. So when you enter the faculty room and you are smiling, there is a certain aura that you exude. Parang, okay to, masaya si ma'am, masaya si sir, happy siya. And everybody gets happy. Contagious ang smiling. So let's smile. Okay? Again, even if you are in crisis, even if you are in an uncomfortable situation, find time to smile because smiling is free. You don't pay for it. And if you are in a crisis, like some people, because they are in a crisis, so they look bad, they are looking bad, they they do not take care of themselves, and they do not smile at all. They look sullen. They have that miserable look. Now, ang take ko dyan, may crisis na nga. Nahihirapan ka na nga, hindi ka pa mag-smile. Hindi masyadong nahirapan ka talaga. You appear really as miserable. So, smile. Okay? Remember that. And in the classroom, when we smile, we are inviting our students to have a positive stance. So, again, the air is beautiful and awesome when teacher smiles or when people are smiling. So don't forget to smile. And it makes you more beautiful also when you smile, right? Okay, so the last trick, save. The greatest learning probably that we pick up from this crisis is saving. The impact of this crisis or this pandemic, this lockdown, enhanced community quarantine, or whatever it is, or whatever level you have in your province or in your region, we learn that if you have savings, the impact is not as grievous as when you have no savings. We realize that. Pag wala ka talagang magagamit na pera, talagang nakakatakot. But if you save for the rainy days, then you feel a little better or as compared to when you do not save. So when we come out of this crisis, that should be our number one action, save. We should be financially literate in order that whatever crisis we will be facing, we will be able to battle against it. All right, so there you have them, the 12 instant self-confidence boosters. If you practice them, if you take note of them, you will become the best version of yourselves. But mind you, practicing all those 12 will not give you good results like in weeks, in months, not even in years. But if you are religious, if you are really relentlessly living those 12 instant self-confidence boosters, then you are ready to become stronger or come out stronger in this crisis. Surely, when we return to our stations, to our schools, then we are like thrown to a maze, like in this image that I'm showing you. It's the unknown. The new normal is something that we do not know yet. How will I carry myself? How will I model myself to my students in order that I can lead them to this new normal? So remember those 12 tricks, practice all those 12 and come out stronger. With that, thank you very much for this session. Thank you very much for listening. I'd like to give credits to Google for the photos that I have used in this presentation. So there you have them, the instant self-confidence boosters. Let's come out stronger in this crisis. I'd say this too shall pass. And when that happens, we will come out stronger. Thank you very much and have a great day.